What's going on, guys? It's Eric again, back with another video. Happy Saturday. I'm kind of sitting here with a cup of coffee right now, trying to think about kind of what I want to talk about today. Down in the description box, you probably already know because you already clicked on the video and kind of know what I want to say with my thoughts. I'm just going to kind of prelude this video to kind of say I usually don't talk about this stuff. I've talked about it before, but nowhere ad nauseum about political stuff, because when you start getting into political statements and your political opinions, bad stuff seems to happen with people. Like they have their own, like you're almost like you're attacking their own personal beliefs and their feelings and something that they believe all the way down into their core, which that very, very well may be the case. But as someone that I don't want to say hates, but who thinks that the Democratic and the Republican parties don't have the best interests of the common average Joe at heart, kind of what I'm going to say here is, I'll just take it for as a grain of salt, as just someone else's opinion on this platform. So with that being said, you probably already know what I'm going to talk about. It's with kind of what we've witnessed here the last couple of days with the Trump supporters, the MAGA supporters, and some are even saying that I can't even pronounce what they are. There are others, the right-wing and left-wing extremist groups that kind of converged on the Capitol and then breached security to go into the Capitol there and to vandalize it. I will go ahead and use that term. I don't think it was vandalized as bad as what the news outlets are kind of making it out to be, but it was vandalized. I mean, you had broken windows. There was some stuff that was missing. Probably sensitive security information was missing, so theft happened as well. So just kind of stuff like that should never have been able to be breached before. And I kind of blame this on the Republican Party, and especially I'm pointing to President Trump as to his fascist, almost, and I'm using this term very lightly, almost as like he wants to be the dictator of the United States. And I know I'm using that term, dictator is a very harsh word, but I kind of put that dictatorship kind of level on him because he thinks that, at least how I perceive it, is the law is above him, that the law, what he says goes against what the law says, so he thinks he can do what he wants, and using public platforms to get his message out to his viewers is okay, but to the point of where you're inciting riots and things of that nature to better your self-standing on here. Now, we all know his aides and all that stuff, and probably feeding him this information, as they should. They probably should be telling him national security, domestic security, world security, the things that are going on and all that. But I think he uses that information and twists it to better his own standing on here, which is exactly what we've seen here in Washington, D.C. at the state capitol. Now, you had his son and Rudy Giuliani doing those same things and, getting the protesters riled up. And eventually they kind of breached security because of Giuliani. What he said was his, using a Game of Thrones term, trial by combat. Sort of stuff, and you guys know that someone probably we should go in there and blah blah, all that, and then it kind of sat there and festered up, and boom, what they do? They breached security and thought the Capitol police there at the Capitol were going to be able to handle the mobs. I mean, when people ask for help, especially calling in the National Guard and maybe the Washington, D.C. police and whatever other resources that there are, why was it blocked? Was it blocked because Trump goes, no, you don't need that down there? It shouldn't have gotten to the point where Pence had to intervene and to tell the national security folks, where apparently what I'm reading here on the computer is he's getting repeatedly, senators are getting repeatedly denied access to those services because people at that point had already infiltrated the U.S. Capitol. Why did it take so long? That's the big thing. They had to have seen it go on television. Why didn't they say, look, we got a national security situation kind of going on here, deploy him and get him out there regardless of what the president says? That's really what should have happened. Why did you have to wait for authorization for that stuff to happen. There was breaches on multiple levels, or just plain ignorance at the Department of Defense. I mean, if I'm a congressman, if I'm a U.S. congressman, which I'm not, but if I were an elected official to the U.S. Congress, whether it's to the House or to the Senate, and they're going to have a hearing on it, which they should have a hearing on it, which I think you're going to see in the later weeks, there'll be hearings on this. I want to be in there and I want to chew someone's ass for why didn't they deploy the National Guard or deploy other resources to help the crowds? Why was it on the Capitol Police to do this? They were not ready for this. The Capitol, they were way undermanned for that. At least that's kind of what I'm hearing and what I'm reading here on news sites like CNN, NBC, CBS, all those news outlets. Just a total disregard for national security at all levels. And that's where I kind of go back and I kind of point to President Trump for having this situation happen. Should have never, ever, ever gotten that far. Ever gotten that far. I was surprised and kind of saddened by it, as I said in the previous video where I touched on it with the Michigan win. I am very surprised that I had seen this in my lifetime. I would never have thought to seen this in my lifetime, or to have the events happen that fast. So, and it kind of turns around to me as to, I'm kind of pointing at the Republican Party as a whole. I'm surprised that they haven't told President Trump, look, dude, you have got to, and this should have been done years ago. I'm not even going to say months. This should have been done years ago to try to rein him in and to say, look, you cannot do this. You're inciting violence, your misinformation and your lies are deceiving the public. That's the big thing. You were deceiving the public. He's a fascist. Let's put it that way. President Trump is a fascist. He wants to rule and only him to rule, and he doesn't want anybody else to. He wants to override what the Constitution says and kind of be his own lawmaker. That's why I kind of use the word dictator. Anyway, all the way down that road. The Republican Party should have intervened way before this. And I'm kind of pointing to the Republican Party to say, is this the hill you kind of really want to die on? You know, is this the path that you want to go down to be like, no, this is kind of what we're kind of known for? Because everyone, even up to Mitch McConnell, should be telling President Trump, look, dude, you have got to change your tune for the last, it's now, 11 or 10 days? You really got to change your tune in the last 10 days. Or some people are already starting to turn their backs on the man, which should have been done, years ago, within the last 4 years at some point. It shouldn't have taken up till now to do this, because now the last 4 years we're kind of going to look back and be like, man, or at least for me, so maybe some Republicans are going to be like, no, he doesn't know what he's talking about. No, I do know what I'm talking about. Anyway, with that being said, the Republicans really need to kind of have a come to Jesus moment, more or less. The whole entire party, even here in Michigan where I live at, the whole entire Republican Party needs to have a come to Jesus moment to be like, is this the hill that we're going to die on? Is this the path that we want to go down? Because I mean, this is not a way to do government and to do politics and things like that. Yeah, you can have some harsh stances on some stuff, which I don't have a problem with, but you got to be within the confines of the Constitution for what our forefathers did. If we start straying away from that, who knows what this country is going to be like? It's probably going to be anarchic, a lot like a third world country where a lot of fighting breaks out, little small skirmishes here and there, but some escalate to a big skirmish at big places, probably in big cities, to try to take control of. You're going to see that, things like from Syria, from Iraq, Iran, some of Pakistan, even that kind of Middle Eastern type of where little groups want to have control. It can't be like that here. We're a nation to where other countries look upon us to, I don't want to say to gain direction, but to kind of look at us to be like, hey, our model should be a part of the United States. And right now, a lot of the countries are kind of just doing this, or kind of just putting their backs against us to be like, we're not going to be a part of that. We're going to be disassociated to you from it. So the second impeachment kind of coming on here. But also, whatever, I'm just going to just touch on the second impeachment. The second impeachment, I don't even know if the first one went through. I'll have to look that up. I didn't look that up before I made this video. The second impeachment would give him no possible recourse to go for any kind of federal public office ever. So he couldn't go back to be the president. He couldn't be a senator. He couldn't be a governor or anything like that. He couldn't be. And I would probably even go as far as even state governments would probably adhere to his two impeachments if the first one was successful. I will put it that way. The 25th Amendment stuff, kind of putting Pence in power for the last couple of days. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's a recourse that the Republican Party really needs to look at, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, whether you're a Democrat, a Republican, an independent, a libertarian, whatever kind of party that you recognize with. You really need to take that stance to be like, hey, is this good for the country, and is this good for our party? That's the big thing. Is it good for our party? And I'm just kind of blown away that it's had to take this down this far, down this road, to take this kind of action within the last 10 days. This should have been done years ago. Should have been done years ago, because we all know how, looking back on the last 4 years, the signs were there, guys. They were. And the Republican Party just kind of turned a blind eye to it, and they're still doing it today. And they're turning a blind eye to it to just try to get through this. The Republican Party really needs to take a harsh look at itself, and maybe even sometimes a very harsh debate, and feelings are probably going to get hurt by it to get the country and to get the party back up to where it was when George W. Bush was on here. Because George W. Bush just kind of said, he's distanced himself from me. Like, I'm not going to associate with that psychopath or that nut job. Because he thinks he can do no wrong. He thinks he can do no wrong, and that's bad for the country. But anyway, kind of getting away from sports, guys. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I know this is a sensitive subject to a lot of people, especially on social media. A lot of my social media friends on there, I'm just surprised by their stance on here and what they're saying and what they believe in, which are basic misinformation and lies. But anyway, let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below. And also, please consider hitting that subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell notification so you guys get more videos just like this one. All right, guys, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and hope to see you guys again soon. Deuces. Take care, guys.